Hey guys, welcome to episode 22 of the Dash Gamer podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Dash, along with my co-host, Mr. Ryan Betson. Hello.
Hey man.
How are you?
I'm very well. How are you?
Yeah, good, dude. It has been a little bit since we've sat down and podcasted together. Obviously, Dash Gamer podcast went on a bit of a break from last year to now. Just a little bit, just to get it prepared and going again. But
yeah, it's just that COVID, like just delaying everything.
Oh, you mean everything?
Everything. And look, the Dash Gamer podcast is not excluded.
That's right.
From the COVID delays.
That's right. That's right. So it kind of got put on the back burner a little bit, but glad to be back for the year 2021 and to be podcasting with you again this year, Betson.
Yeah, man, it's good to be back. It's very, very good to be back.
Awesome. And of course, there's going to be a few changes, and we'll get into that shortly. Guys, if you didn't know, this is the Dash Gamer podcast. It's our bi-weekly gaming podcast where I sit down with a bunch of the boys and talk about the world of video games and what's happening and the latest and greatest and all that. I haven't written a script for it, but that's okay. Don't forget to follow the show over on SoundCloud, iTunes, and Spotify. Give us those cheeky 5-star ratings. They surely help us out. And also catch the VOD over on dashgamer.com and on YouTube. Subscribe, hit that bell, give us a like, leave us a comment. Surely helps us out. You can also support the show over on dashgamer.com/Kofi, where you can become an executive producer. And we will credit you at the end of every show. Betson.
Yes, sir.
Housekeeping?
Me?
Yeah, got anything?
Nothing outside the usual. For the players, the Pop Culturist PlayStation podcast.
Fantastic.
Still kicking, still going.
Yeah.
Episode 190 something this week. It was 95.
Yeah.
No, 190. 190 exactly, yeah.
Radio.
Episode 190. We are this close to 200.
Nice.
It's pretty crazy. I think we've done nearly 200 episodes of that show.
Fantastic. Congratulations,
it's bonkers. Man. Thanks, man. But this week, we spoke about the move of MLB The Show to a cross-platform title. PlayStation losing one of its sort of longest-running exclusives. With the better part of a decade being made solely on PlayStation consoles. We discussed that. We also provide our review for Little Nightmares 2.
Yeah.
And a bunch of other things. And of course, The Young and the Wrestlers. That did have a little bit of a time off as well.
Yep.
As we all sort of checked out from wrestling for a little bit.
Definitely.
But both Gem and I have come back.
Awesome.
And it may still not be, wrestling may still not be the best right now, but we still have fun with it. So
Fantastic. Yeah. Obviously, it's a bit up and down, but I guess,
And additionally, to add to the list of the things that I do, as many of you may know, I am an ambassador for the product called the Man Shake.
That's right.
It's a weight loss shake that I use in 2020 to lose over at least 30 kilos.
If you haven't noticed.
He's
withering away.
I have since joined their weekly podcast called The Man Talk, where myself and a couple of other of the Man Shake ambassadors, we come together and we talk weight loss and just kind of bullshit around for a little bit. Nice. And that's every Monday on the Man Shake Facebook page from 8:30 p.m. Australian Eastern, whatever time of the year it is.
Fantastic. You look fantastic, dude.
Thanks, man.
You really, really have come a long way, and I'm honestly jealous in a way because I used to be there, and it's just it must feel fantastic right now, especially it's literally weight lifted off your shoulders, and you must feel great right now, man.
Yeah, like it is one of those things. Like 30 kilos is a lot when you think about it. Like it's a lot. So the obviously right now it's a bit shit because I was just we're currently in like a big 5-day snap lockdown. Oh, yeah. But prior to that, I had 2 weeks of the gymming for the first time, and it was an awesome feeling, an awesome experience, and I'm a little bit bummed. I was so motivated to get back into gear, but it stopped for a little bit. It'll come back. I'll be able to go back hopefully next week, which is fantastic. But I'm going to be shameless. If you want to support myself on that weight loss journey that is still going, and of course, Max, my co-host on For the Players, he himself has lost 10 kilos in 5 weeks. Using the Man Shake.
Amazing.
If you want to support us on our journey or maybe even start your own, there is a link. It is bit.ly/FTP Man Shake. You don't even have to buy anything. Just go there. It shows some support for us, and we much Much appreciated.
The link will be in the description for those looking for it. bit.ly/FTP Manshake, was it?
FTP Manshake. That's
awesome,
the one.
Awesome. So make sure you guys check that out. It's going to be awesome. For myself and dashgamer.com, actually, first special one that I've got written down. Happy birthday to Padge.
Happy birthday, Padge!
My co-host from Operation PlayStation. It is his birthday today. Myself and Padge celebrate our birthdays 2 days apart. He himself on the 17th and mine on the 19th, and we're both turning 32 this year. Freaking old. Happy birthday, Padge. I know you're listening, so have a good day, man. So, for real housekeeping, Super Mario 3D World and Bowser's Fury review is live right now thanks to Nintendo Australia, who provided the review code.
Big fucking 10!
Yeah, big 10 on those. Make sure that you check them out. There are 2 separate reviews for each. A lot of websites did them together. I decided to split them up, but you'll find it basically on the front page, and you can click on either or to check them out. But fantastic bundle by Nintendo there. Anime, Hurricane Receive from Madman Australia. Thank you so much to those guys for providing the Blu-ray on that. Destruction All-Stars review. Thanks to PlayStation Australia, who actually provided a PlayStation Plus membership for us to check that out. And Operation PlayStation episode 27 is live right now on your podcast feeds. I love it because now that I'm back to 2 podcasts, or a podcast every week, the housekeeping gets shorter, which is good. All right, Betson, let's not waste any more time. Let's jump into the news. So the first bit of news comes by way of Matt Kim over at IGN, who says, new Ratchet & Clank animated short is unrelated to PS5's Rift Apart. A brand new Ratchet & Clank animated short has appeared mysteriously on the Canadian streaming service Crave, but according to PlayStation, Ratchet & Clank Life of Pi is an original licensed animation unrelated to the upcoming PS5 game Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart. Last night, Reddit users discovered a mysterious new Ratchet & Clank animation on the streaming service Crave. More than that, Life of Pi has also starred the original voice cast for the Ratchet & Clank video games. The animation was done by Mainframe, which created the animated movie, and the credits say that the feature was produced in 2019. But PlayStation confirmed to IGN that Life of Pi is not related to the upcoming PS5 game and not canon. Okay.
See, what has me excited already, if that's made by Mainframe, that's the same folks that made...
Oh god, here we go. He's pulling something out from his collection behind him.
Reboot.
Oh yeah,
they were Mainframe Entertainment back in the day, but they just go by the name Mainframe. They did like Beast Wars or that sort of stuff as well. So that's pretty fantastic information right there.
Yeah.
Mostly gets just me excited, but there's that.
I was gonna say though, I do find it odd that they note it has nothing to do with Rift Apart at all. But the fact that it's released out of the blue, do you think that they released it out of the blue because it's going to be marketing material more than anything than, you know, something that they really want people to get attached to going into Rift Apart? Do you think this is just being used as a marketing push?
It's certainly possible.
Why do you
that it's just to help get the Ratchet and Clank name out there again.
Yeah.
I understand why they wouldn't be tying them in because when they released the Ratchet and Clank movie out with the same time as the game, and they're like, well, one flopped and one did. They don't want to have that sort of connection again. It's sort of that negative press that came from it.
Yeah.
Even though I don't think it's all that negative. Having it just be like standalone little hype thing isn't bad, but that also it could also come into play. With Ratchet and Clank meaning to be released earlier in the year, obviously COVID, well, presumably, and the COVID has since caused a delay. It's like, all right, well, that's originally this was going to tie into this coming out in presumably March. It's now moved to June. We might as well just drop it anyway and not be like it's connected.
Yeah. I feel like right now, actually pre-orders just opened today as well. And we're going to talk about it in a second as well, because there was a response that I want to talk to you about it. I feel like the hype surrounding Ratchet & Clank right now is more than anything to do with the fact that, one, it's a first-party title, and we're really, really dry right now on releases for next gen until said title comes out, because we were waiting for Returnal, and now Returnal gets pushed to April, and then this is released June 11th. It's just it's very sparse right now in terms of the way it's spread out.
Yeah, so it is a little bit tight because this was the first party next gen exclusive. So technically, obviously, MLB The Show would be the first big exclusive from the year, but it's also across platform now because that's coming out in April 20th.
Yeah,
and then Returnal, which since got delayed to April 30th.
Yeah,
so that's not a first party. It is the first big exclusive.
Yeah,
but it is also not a first party exclusive. And then you got Ratchet and Clank in June.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I think people are just itching for that, something that they can play that makes the PS5 worth buying.
Yeah.
Because the marketing behind Ratchet and Clank recently has been you cannot play it anywhere else.
Yeah. Betson, Presta put out a tweet today confirming pre-orders were live on Amazon, and the price had dropped down from 98 from 128 regular retail pricing. People were complaining, obviously, that the price was so high on Ratchet and Clank originally before Amazon. People were still complaining that it was $98. The top tweet the top response for this was from the Westie, actually, who I'm actually friends with. Finally, a game dropped to the affordable price of ... checks notes $98. So he's still expressing that it's quite expensive to actually purchase the title on PlayStation 5. I'd agree. $128 is a big ask still for next-gen titles. We're still the thing is, we're still in a phase right now where those next-gen titles are going to release at that price point. We have seen titles, though, dip almost immediately, weeks after their release. Like Spider-Man Miles Morales went down to like $69 a couple of weeks after its release. I don't know whether or not that's because units were moving slowly, but that's also to be expected due to the fact that not as many people actually had their hands on next-gen hardware.
I think the big difference here with Miles Morales specifically was that it was available across both platforms, so they were able to sort of negotiate the price down in order to meet the price of both platforms.
Yeah.
Where here, this being a full next-gen title, it makes sense.
Yeah.
There will come a time then we'll adjust to the new price, or the new price will flux.
Yeah.
Because I've said it before and I'll say it again. There was a window of time where games on release, their RRP were $109.99 here in Australia.
Correct.
And then out of nowhere, they shifted to 99, and everyone just kind of forgot that it was 110 once. And I think we'll see that here as well. I think we'll see this shift from 125, maybe down to 110.
Yeah,
and that'll become the new norm. Now, additionally, when it comes to Ratchet and Clank, like when we think about the remake from 2016, the hurdle was that's a remake, and that was a $50 title, $60 title for us.
Yep.
So that was without any removal because it was a good middle tier price because of it being a remake, right?
Yeah.
This is a brand new game from scratch. It is a full next gen experience. I'm not here to support those pricings. I think $125 is dumb, but there is going to be that transition time, and therefore games going to be more expensive. Like it's still $70 US, so it's still $10 higher than the standard retail price for the PS4 game.
I agree.
So it's going to happen, man. Like even though I disagree in terms of the prices needing to go up for the reasons that are marketed across the internet, but it is going to go up at some point. And it's whoever does it first, whoever the big first exclusive game, is, in terms of PlayStation, it's going to be a hit. Like, because Godfall had that, it's still 120 something bucks. Everyone's like, ew, but they had to lower it because A, poor reception, and two, no one really had a console at the time. But if this comes out, if this is gangbusters, if it's really, really good, people will be less willing to fight on its prices.
It's just going to be one of those things right now where it's still going to be up in the air in terms of pricing and everything else for next-gen hardware. So people are going to have to put up with it until those price drops come into play.
Yeah.
So,
or vote with your wallet and don't buy them.
Correct.
That's the other option. If they see that no one buys them, then they'll alter the price.
Correct.
However, you're not going to, not you, the royal you're not going to do it.
Correct, exactly.
I know. Gamers are fucking predictable, man.
The next article comes by way of Matt Purslow over at IGN, who says Jack Black joins Borderlands movie cast as Claptrap. This is an odd casting choice, but anyway, Lionsgate has announced that Jack Black is being cast as Claptrap in the upcoming Borderlands live-action movie. Black will provide voice acting for the yellow robot, which has long been seen as the mascot of the Borderlands series. Quote, I'm excited to reunite with Jack, this time in the recording booth, and, quote, said Eli Roth, director of Borderlands. Quote, Claptrap is the funniest character in the game, and Jack is perfect to bring him to the big screen, end quote. Black joins a cast that already includes heavyweight Cate Blanchett as Lilith, Kevin Hart as Roland, and Jamie Lee Curtis as Dr. Tannis. Last year, director Eli Roth also said he hoped for fans to be added to the cast, too, as extras that can be killed off in humorous ways. Yeah, go on, Betson.
I'm not against it. It's just, I'm like, what is the budget of this fucking movie? Like, that is a pretty substantial cast.
Yeah.
So, even Eli Roth himself wouldn't be cheap. And then you add Jack Black and Kevin Hart, who have done a bunch of movies together with the Jumanji film specifically. Right. And they are sort of like the notable faces of family comedies. Mm-hmm. So that there's a lot of money. Jamie Lee Curtis is old school like Hollywood movie royalty. Cate Blanchett is one of the most respected actresses there is. Yeah. Like there's a lot of money there.
Yeah.
And with it being a full CG movie, presumably, like it's gonna be lots of dollars to begin with. Like that has me worried because it may not do all that well. But having those names attached to it, I think has a more likelihood that it'll be all right.
I think it's an odd casting choice mainly because if they want to capture the spirit of Borderlands, I don't know how much, how Jack will portray Claptrap that well. I
think Kevin Hart's voice and cadence would actually be better.
Yeah.
For Claptrap.
Yeah.
He's got that sort of high pitched, whiny sort of tone. Speaks very fast.
Correct.
You know what I mean? Like he would kind of work, but that's fine.
We'll see what happens, I guess. But I just feel like the rough and gruff of Jack Black's voice doesn't match what Claptrap delivers in the video game. So
yeah, because he's very nasally, very high, where Jack is certainly not those.
Correct, yeah. So, it remains to be seen, but I'm hopeful. I like Jack Black as an actor, so we'll definitely see what happens. The next one is controversial. This one comes by way of Joe Screbbles over at IGN, who says, stolen CD Projekt Red files. Now, I know that you guys spoke about this on For the Players this week. Stolen CD Projekt Red files reportedly now sold after dark web auction. The front purchase price was set at $7 million US. Files stolen from CD Projekt Red in a ransomware attack revealed earlier this week have now reportedly now been sold in a dark web auction. Dark web monitoring organization KELA, which previously provided The Verge with what it believes to be a legitimate file list of CD Projekt Red's engine, reports that an auction set up to sell the files has now been closed after a, quote, satisfying offer, end quote, was made from outside of the forum it was being held on. That offer reportedly stipulates that the code will not be distributed or sold further. Cybersecurity account VX Underground also reported that it had heard the sale was completed. So you and Max spoke about this over on For the Players. The fact is, and I brought it up in chat while I was there. The fact is, regardless of it being sold for $7 million, we're talking about digital files here. These things can be copied and cloned over and over and over again. This person that paid $7 million has to be working for CD Projekt Red, like to acquire those files back, because
the thing that's most interesting is the stipulations upon the purchase where you were to, the agreement was you're not going to resell them or redistribute them. They're fucking stolen goods. You can't tell thieves to obey the rules.
Correct.
Otherwise, they wouldn't have fucking got them, right?
People that spent $7 million on the engine.
Yeah, it's like it's not as if that they're like, hang on, you better not resell these stolen goods. Like, why the fuck do you care? You broke the law to get them. Who cares what laws I break, right? Like to make the logical sense, it would be advantageous for CD Projekt Red to be the ones that purchased it, whether they did or they didn't. Because the hurdle that they have is if whoever buys this redistributes it, they can trace it back.
Yeah.
You know, what are they going to do with this information now that they have it, right? What are they going to do?
It's stupid. What kind of, like, you can't put a caveat on a sale that, first of all, the goods are now that person's to own. And second of all, it's not legal. None of this is legal. The sale isn't even legal. You are selling stolen goods on a black market. If the police were to track you down, it's over for you. That's the point. You can't be putting your own rules on things that aren't legally yours.
Yeah, but then on top of that, the same rule apply. My understanding would be, even though you were the original owner of said item, if you were to purchase stolen goods, you purchased them. Yeah. So if CD Projekt Red even went and bought them back, there is still some issues there.
Yeah.
You know, like the idea of being a dark web sale, it's not a cash transfer. It's probably cryptocurrency, which is pretty difficultly traceable, right? Correct. So it's not as if, you know, they can channel it back some way. Like, someone's going to get in shit. You would like to think, right?
100%. But not even that, Betson. It's just the fact that technically they're selling stolen goods, but we don't know whether these stolen goods now, you know, look, you presume that they're copied because you're not going to give up something as rare as a development engine for $7 million plus for the fact that you can own a copy of it yourself. It's just it's not it's not, you can't label this thieves honor, scouts honor, whatever. You're not going to redistribute or sell it or leak it. Yeah, right. Fucking get real. So. Yeah. No. Betson, the next story comes by way of Jordan Olomon over at IGN, who says Street Fighter V's last a new character 11 leaked by Twitch. He goes on, Twitch has accidentally leaked a new Street Fighter V character called 11 via an email sent to users. 11 is the last character to be added to Street Fighter V's final season of content. As spotted by All Games Delta on Twitter, an email rounding up the coming week's events on Twitch contains a blurb about Street Fighter V Winter Update, which is set to occur on Thursday. The blurb notes that it will feature, quote, an exclusive look at the newest character, 11. The screenshot there of the character, he looks like Frieza from Dragon Ball Z. Okay, fair enough. Betson, I know you're not big into the fighting games at all.
I am surprised to hear that it is still receiving support, which is good.
That's, yeah.
It just means that there'll be a Super Championship Mega Ultimate Edition coming out soon.
Turbo.
Turbo, yes.
Yeah, so that's the point of this, is that I'm surprised that they're still supporting Street Fighter V. I would have thought the development would be underway right now for Street Fighter 6.
And if that leaked Capcom list is to be confirmed, then we know that is coming in the next couple of years.
Oh, look, for sure. If what they're saying here as well is that this is the final update for Street Fighter V, then it's almost a guarantee that they're working on Street Fighter 6 now, which is kind of like what a lot of gamers want. They want to move past Street Fighter 5 due to the fact that its launch was a complete stuff up on Capcom's end. They launched the game almost half finished. It didn't even have a single player mode when it first launched, which was kind of a bummer. Because I love Street Fighter. I love Mortal Kombat. I love my fighters. I actually just got into the beta for the first beta for tonight's Guilty Gear, thanks to Bandai Namco. Bandai Namco supplied the review code for that, and I'll have my review impressions on the website. But for Street Fighter V, I really hope that this is the end, because I feel like it's had its run, it's done what it's needed to do. It's time to move on. Hopefully soon, maybe E3 this year, which they're already now teasing a digital event, will take place this year. We might hear something about Street Fighter 6, so fingers crossed. We'll see about that. Betson, the next one comes from Joseph Noop over at IGN, who says, Tales from the Borderlands has gone back on sale for the first time since 2019. This is something I did not know.
Me either.
Yeah. For the first time since 2019, Telltale Games, Tales from the Borderlands series is coming back to stores on February 17th. Borderlands series developer Gearbox announced the news Wednesday on the official Borderlands Twitter account. Quote, Tales from Borderlands returns to storefronts February 17th. Set between Borderlands 2 and 3, Tales from Borderlands follows the story of Reese, a Hyperion suit, and Fiona, a con artist, on a quest born of greed but destined for greatness. Reese voiced by Troy Baker, Fiona voiced by Laura Bailey, and a litany of voice acting royalty across this game. But the story itself is great. One of our most... actually, it got a 10. This was one of the first reviews we ever did back in the day on Dash Gamer, and we scored it a 10 because it was just a phenomenal title. So really happy to see that it's actually coming back. But for the fact that they pulled it, I believe that this would have been something to do mainly with Telltale licensing with Gearbox.
Yeah, I would make that with the flush of Telltale year and a half ago.
Yeah.
I think 2 years ago even.
Yeah.
I think, that may have caused a bit of a spanner, well, since 2019. So, certainly 2 years ago.
Correct, yeah.
I would say it's a big part of the shutdown of Telltale.
Yeah. It would have had something to do with it for sure. The next one comes from Joe Screbbles over at IGN, who says, PS5 DualSense controller drift. A US law firm investigating class action lawsuit. The same law firm is already pursuing a case against Nintendo. Here we go. A US law firm that has already filed a class action lawsuit against Nintendo for Joy-Con drift is now investigating a similar case against Sony, alleging analog stick drift in the PS5 DualSense controller. We'd find it hot. We're both PlayStation fanboys, so. Chemical Schwartz, Kreiner, and Donald Smith LLP has set up a questionnaire page asking for PS5 owners to report instances of drift, in brackets, in which the console registers stick input even if the controller isn't being touched. Quote, CSK and D is investigating a potential class action based upon reports that Sony PS5 DualSense controllers for the PlayStation 5 console can experience drift issues and or fail prematurely, reads the page introduction. Quote, specifically, it is reported that the joystick on certain PS5 DualSense controllers will automatically register movement when the joystick is not being controlled and interfere with gameplay, end quote. Betson, I haven't experienced Joy-Con drift at all on my Switch. Like, this is something that, I had a discussion with somebody earlier in the week about it. They said to me, they claim that they have a Joy-Con that's completely unusable. It has Joy-Con drift out the wazoo. I think I even had a discussion with Dane Peavy about this a couple of months ago. We were sitting down having a Mario Kart session, and he mentioned to me that his Joy-Con had Joy-Con drift. Which is weird because, like, once again, I have used my Joy-Cons more than what I did my Nintendo Pro Controller. Never once did I have an issue with Joy-Con drift. And, I use this as a daily driver. It gets the rough and tough treatment that my PS4 controllers did as well. Have not experienced any problems thus far. If anything, this is one of the most sturdiest pieces of hardware I've ever felt in my hands. So I don't know how this is happening now with PlayStation 5 controllers. You got any thoughts?
Well, any new technology will always have some sort of minor hiccup, and for that reason, I'm like, okay, cool. I think that's certainly possible that some people are experiencing this drift. My comments on this, though, is why? Why class action lawsuit? Because from all accounts, if you go to PlayStation and say, hey, my controller's being shit, they go, okay, we'll get you a new one. If you go to your retail, they go, okay, you get a new one. Yeah. Like, especially here in Australia at least, so I see this as the biggest fucking non-issue of this year so far in terms of the gaming space. Like, if they were refusing to acknowledge it and refusing to honor your warranty,
rectify,
then it's a problem. Like, if from recollection, Nintendo kind of ignored Joy-Con drift, right? Mm-hmm. That's the difference
from initiation, yes.
They were just like, I don't know, and from memory, they didn't even really allow you to. They didn't care.
They said, hey, is it broken? Warranty.
Yeah. And that's the big difference here. Like, if they're like, yeah, mate, we're not honoring that, that would be a whole different scenario for me. Of course. And I would have a very different stance. But they are doing everything within their rights. Like, is it a problem? Yeah, cool. I'll get you a new one.
Yeah.
Then that's fine. Now, granted, people can be shitty about it, but I think there is such a there is such an eagerness within the gaming community for some reason to get all class action lawsuity anytime that someone gets slightly inconvenienced.
Yeah.
It's bullshit.
That's right, yeah. Look, I think that they have... owners of hardware, look, working in retail for almost a decade, owners of hardware do have a right to return that hardware to the store that they purchased it from, get it evaluated. There is a 30-day return policy that is put into play by the
Yeah, so the reason I add that is because in that report, they're like, people as soon as 10 days of getting the console. I had my fucking PS5 die in less than 10 days. 3 days, and I got a new one. I simply went in and returned it. And that is way more intense than a controller having drift.
Yeah.
So they had controllers, like fucking boxes of those bastards,
The
right?
man had an air conditioner, a portable air conditioner, cooling down his unit. So,
but yeah, and like there were, that was the one thing that is readily available to this day is the controller. So it's not as if that there is a shortage, and because you have drift, you can't get it replaced for a new one.
Yeah,
like you just go to the store and they go, "Thank you very much."
Yeah, exactly. They'll you know how many times I did that? You know how many times we even bent the rules to replace PlayStation 4 controllers? They'll do it. Go to a JB. Like, if anything, my recommendation, if you're shopping in Australia, do it at a JB Hi-Fi, because they'll bend over backwards to replace it for you with no issues or no problems whatsoever. Like, I had so many returns of PlayStation 4 controllers with the rubbers on them just completely gone, and I was like, yeah, just give me the controller, swap it in and out of the box, walk out with this, and yep, there you go, bang.
Yeah, I think the big difference here is, obviously in Australia we have the ACCC that ensures that these things are kept.
Yeah.
Where the US may have different rules. I know warranties are still exist.
Yeah.
But I'm sure there's a lot of shittier businesses in
the US. Yeah, for sure.
Because they may not be legally bound.
Correct, yeah. Yeah, well, that's why shops like Circuit City closed down, because they were just fucking terrible over there in the US. Anyway, Betson, moving on. This one comes from Rebecca Valentine over at IGN, who says, Ubisoft moving away from reliance on AAA releases. Publisher says it expects long-term support for older releases, free-to-play games to be a bigger role in its revenues. She goes on, Ubisoft doesn't want to be as reliant on AAA games, game releases as it has in the past, and will look more closely at free-to-play games and its back catalogue to make money. In an earnings call today following the company's Q3 financial results, the publisher said that it plans for fiscal 2022, the period from April 2021 through to March 2022, included 3 AAA game releases, but that in the future, Ubisoft does not want AAA games to be a focus of its business model. Quote, we said for a number of years that our normal template is to come with either 3 or 4 AAA games, so we'll stick to that plan for fiscal 2022, end quote, said CFO Frederick Duguid. Quote, but we see that we are progressively continuously moving from a model that used to be only focused on AAA releases to a model where we have a combination of strong releases from AAA and strong back catalog dynamics, but also complementing our program of new releases with free-to-play and other premium experiences, end quote. What are your thoughts on this, being Ryan Ubisoft Betson that you are?
That's their... Oh, yeah, you say that, but it seems to be less and less frequent these days. The answer here is microtransactions. That's what it comes down to.
Exactly.
The revenue isn't in AAA games. The revenue's in games as a service. The revenue is in free-to-play games with microtransactions. This can be seen with, thankfully, with Assassin's Creed being spread to 2-year development cycles rather than the one.
Yep.
Every year they'd annualize the release.
Yep.
Games were still made in 2 to 3 year cycles, but they were just released yearly.
Yep.
We see that, and then we see long-term support. We see more DLC coming. We see, obviously, microtransactions at any step of the way if you choose to spend them or forced to spend them. We saw that with the likes of Breakpoint. We saw that with Odyssey, where they may have, got some flack for that, deservedly so, and they gave the appearance that they have stepped away from it, but they haven't.
No.
That's their business model. Like, in the same way that, 60% of a company's revenue recently is microtransactions and DLC, then that's where they're going to go.
Yeah.
Rather than spend all these years developing a new IP, working on it, releasing a new game, they can just like, well, let's go for the money now rather than the money later.
Yeah.
And it's a trend that we're seeing across the board.
I'm glad that we saw less of that within titles like we've got on the screen right now, Immortals Phoenix Rising, which
still had microtransactions in it, of course.
Yeah, but it wasn't in your face. It wasn't
as
predominant.
Yeah, as like
it wasn't as prevalent.
Breakpoint.
Yeah. The exposure of it wasn't in your face like a lot of games that try to push microtransactions further into its experience, much like a Destruction's All-Stars, which just was completely in your face and got to disgusting levels of no thank you. But games like Assassin's Creed, again, not so much in your face, but definitely there, and they were evident. But now, with the statement put out like this, they have no other choice. If they're going to release free-to-play games, they're going to become reliant on microtransactions.
Yeah.
And that's a problem.
But yeah, big time. Yeah. Like they are already reliant on it in the way we've seen them present that self, right? And even down to the Ubisoftification of all their titles, like this entire, what's what I'm looking for? Like every game is the same when it comes to Ubisoft. It's cut and paste sort of design. And that is because they're like, well, we know what works for money, and we know that this design works for money.
Yeah.
Like what you're hearing today? Be sure to follow All Dash Gamer Podcasts on SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify by simply typing dashgamer.com into the search bar of your favorite podcast provider. And don't forget to check out our gaming, anime, and pop culture related news on dashgamer.com. Now, back to the show.
Okay, Betson, the next one comes from Shannon over at Press Start. The following story is actually 2 articles in the one. So, The Mandalorian's Pedro Pascal will play Joel in HBO's The Last of Us TV show. Following on from the announcement that Bella Ramsey, which was going to be the story that I was going to talk about anyway, following on from the announcement that Bella Ramsey will play Ellie in HBO's The Last of Us TV show, it's now been announced by Deadline and confirmed by Neil Druckmann that Pedro Pascal will play Joel. Pascal is best known for his work on the Game of Thrones, as well as playing the lead role of Din Djarin in The Mandalorian. I think that's how you say it. I'm not sure. I'm not a Star Wars nerd. Quote, this is from Neil Druckmann, quote, and there's the other half, stoked to have Pedro aboard our show. And of course, the original story, once again from Shannon over at Press Start. Game of Thrones, Bella Ramsey will play Ellie in HBO's The Last of Us TV show. Hollywood Reporter has reported that Bella Ramsey will star as Ellie in HBO's The Last of Us. Ramsey is best known for her work as Lyanna Mormont in Game of Thrones. HBO's The Last of Us is being written by Craig Mazin of Chernobyl and is expected to tell the story of the first game as well as the second. Neil Druckmann is also closely involved with the project, but it's expected that we'll see a lot of things from the 2 games fleshed out. This is interesting because when it was first revealed, the idea of The Last of Us, the HBO series of The Last of Us, they explicitly said, and plans can change, but they stated that this series would tie into the games and would not copy the games. We're now reading the fact that they're just basically going to be doing a couple of seasons.
No, yeah, they have said it's loosely based on the games. They've said that pretty much the whole way through.
I thought that
loosely based can still be connected. You know what I mean? It's just showing this different way of going about it. Correct. I think this casting is pretty fucking good.
Same.
Like, I'm a big fan of, what was the young girl's name again?
Bella Ramsey.
Bella Ramsey. So she was brilliant as Lady Mormont in Game of Thrones. She has that right level of sass, attitude, confidence. Now, granted, she's a little bit older than what Ellie would be in terms of the game, but once again, it's loosely based. Who fucking cares?
Yeah.
I think she has the right attitude and energy and like sort of swagger that Ellie needs. If for the character we're going based on the game, and Pedro is dope. He is everyone's loving Pedro Pascal right now. Obviously in Game of Thrones as the Viper, he was brilliant till his head exploded. Like, he had such a good attitude, and he's such a good emotive actor as well.
Really is.
And that comes across in The Mandalorian, when he spent the majority of the time, or almost all that time, in a helmet, yet we were able to still see a emotion and elicit responses from him without ever seeing his face.
Yeah.
And that is good acting.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? And yeah, having them work together, I think is great. Having them both be HBO Game of Thrones alums is great as well.
Yeah.
I think it's an excellent choice because, even most recently with Wonder Woman, the only sort of redeemable character in it is Pedro Pascal's character. Everyone else kind of sucked ass, but he was like, he knew what that movie was, and he just chewed the scenery in the best way.
Yeah.
Heading into these news though, they announced Bella Ramsey, and then I remember hearing rumors that I never pronounced it correctly, but like Mahershala Ali from Moonlight was rumored to be Joel. I was like, that's gonna be dope.
Yeah.
Just because I thought that would be an absolute, like, what a twist.
Yeah.
However, if you look at it from the idea of like Naughty Dog takes enough flack as it is for their fucking left-leaning agenda, then I understand why they probably wouldn't have passed an African American just to appease the fucking gross people.
Yeah.
But he is an exceptional actor also.
Yeah.
So both those options would have been mad.
I agree. I think Pedro did an amazing job in Wonder Woman 84, because like that title, that film itself struggled. Like, there was it compared to its first, it was terrible, but Pedro carried that movie on his shoulders, and the memes that just came out of that film were amazing, and the fact that his character in the film was also great too. I believe that I will say to this day, his character in that film should have been in another movie. And the reason is because he's such a fantastic actor, and like you said, he emotes so well. So yeah, I definitely am curious to see how well he'll be able to carry Joel in The Last of Us, especially considering that it's almost like a contrast in his personalities that he's portrayed.
But I think that works in his favor. There's a lot of emotion that comes with Joel.
Oh, yeah.
There's a lot of baggage that comes with Joel.
Yeah.
And I am looking forward to seeing how he brings that across, because obviously being a father myself, it's these father related stories that get me. And like even in Wonder Woman 84, like at the core of his character, he's a father, and his son's there, and it's all about trying to make a better world for his son and make his son proud of him, etc. And there's a great scene at the end. I didn't feel a thing in that movie until like that one moment at the end where Pedro was standing there with his Vietnamese son, which was already weird. No one really acknowledged that. But and they share a moment at the end, and it was really sweet, and it was really nice, and we saw a lot of emotion in that scene alone. I'm very excited to see what this becomes, and I'm okay for it being different to the game too.
I agree. Betson, the next one comes from Shannon over at IGN at Press Start, who says Crash Bandicoot 4 is coming to Nintendo Switch, PS5, and Xbox Series X. It's been suspected ever since the game was announced, but Crash Bandicoot 4, It's About Time, is coming to Nintendo Switch on March 12th. The game is also coming to PS5, Xbox Series X, with free upgrades for those who already own the game on PS4, Xbox One. The game will support 4K 60 frames per second on next-gen consoles, and will also release on March 12th. On PS5, the game will have 3D audio, but also take advantage of the DualSense wireless controller to make do of the adaptive trigger. I think that's a typo. I think make do of the adaptive triggers is what he means. It doesn't appear that there's any new content, but given that it's a free upgrade, it's definitely a win for those who already own this great game. Betson, you own it on PS4/5. I have it on Xbox One/Series X. I think this is definitely going to be one of those games, especially where like we've already experienced it, we've already played it. It's an incredible direct sequel to Crash Bandicoot Warped, and they did it justice. They really, Toys for Bob really knocked it out of the park with this. An upgrade, a visual upgrade, any upgrade to next gen with that, like zero load times and everything else, is just going to be phenomenal for this game. Although my worry is on the Switch. The trilogy, when it released, the Insane trilogy, when it released on Switch, wasn't obviously up to par. This is the problem right now with Switch games where, and I've discussed this with Padge over at Operation PlayStation, with titles like Hitman being ported over for Switch and relying on the cloud. We've talked about it numerous occasions with Final Fantasy VII Remake as well, where it's highly rumored that a cloud-based version of the title will be making its way over to Switch. But a direct port of a game that's made for hardware, like of the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One, that's ported over to the Nintendo Switch, which is a portable system, it's concerning. It's a little concerning, to say the least. What are your thoughts?
Well, I like the idea of it coming across to the next gen. That's cool. That's great. The platformer like this will really benefit from the increased frame rate. So that's a big thumbs up. So yes, I did receive a review code for that on the PS4. So
thanks
big
to
thank you
Activision.
from Activision for that one.
Yep.
So I'm pretty keen to sort of get a free bump again to have to play it on the PS5. Additionally, when it comes to Switch, man, this is one of my biggest arguments since the Switch launched. It's like that third-party support will go away, same as the Wii U. For, as great as its portability is, that comes with power restraints, and we are starting to see that.
Yep.
Shit, we saw it like near a year and a half ago, whatever, with The Witcher 3, where it's running at like 11p, at 14 frames a second. Like, it's cool that it's portable, but are you willing to take those hits in order for it to become portable?
Yeah.
Now, Crash Bandicoot may not be as demanding in some ways as like The Witcher,
correct, but
it will still be power hungry on the Switch.
Yeah.
And I think the game will benefit from portability. Why not? Like, same as the Insane trilogy.
Yeah.
I'm just worried about the future of the Switch in general when it comes to supporting this idea of this rumored Switch Pro, which I've not heard any sort of substantiated shit outside of random Nintendo nerds being like, it's coming.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, but where's any sort of remote history or thing? But even then, like, that is more likely to be a dedicated home console, because they've got the Switch, which does the both, the Lite, which does only portable, and you would presume if they make a Pro, they're going to make some sort of home console.
Yeah.
That would make sense from a product line sort of standpoint.
Yeah, I agree.
But even then, if they do that, why don't you just play it on the console that you have? Like, we know that majority of the people that own a Switch, it is a secondary console to primarily a PlayStation.
Yeah.
That's what the data shows.
Yes.
So why would you then go over there? You know what I'm saying? Like,
it's what Nintendo labeled once a complementary console, which is silly of them to market it like that. Because, you own...
it's them going, we know our flaws, you have this as an additional thing.
Yeah, but don't downplay your own hardware. That's underselling.
Well, they have to, because they can't upplay it. They're like, it can run anything. Fucking really?
Yeah, no, that's not true at all, obviously. Well, speaking of Nintendo, the next one comes from James Berwick over at Press Start, who says, Post Malone and Pokemon are coming together for a virtual concert event. This is one of the weirdest pieces of news that has come out this week, especially the trailer that kind of morphs Post Malone into this weird 3D model. But anyway, I would never think that Nintendo would actually have rendered a Post Malone model with like his tats all over his face and everything. But there you go. In a move I'm sure everyone is ecstatic about, Pokemon and Post Malone are teaming up to celebrate Pokemon Day on Saturday, February 27th, with a virtual console event. In an announcement made via Billboard, Post Malone admits to owning a Game Boy Color specifically so he can play Pokemon. What a flex. As such, it's sentimental to him not only on a personal level, but to even fathom that the franchise has turned 25 this year. Speaking of Billboard, exclusively, he said, quote, celebrating 25 years is a big deal, so we decided to do it together, end quote. Okay.
Congratulations, Post Malone. You're a millennial. You had a Game Boy Color and fucking Pokemon. You're like literally everybody else.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, all right, that's great.
What else you got?
Why
is your music Pokemon fan Pokemon T-Key demographic appropriate? Not really.
No,
that's
no.
fun.
Yeah, exactly. This is this is the
because
weirdest campaign.
they talk about popping pillies and feeling like a rock star. maybe if you're popping Pez and feeling like a rock star, you might relate to the demographic of Pokemon.
Pikachu-shaped Pez.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, that's the only way he's going to get it. Like, tonally, it's very weird.
Yeah.
I understand that they're trying to get on the little buzz train of, what's the place? What are they called? Fucking Fortnight.
Oh, yeah.
With all their concerts and whatnot. Pokemon, it does seem like a weird choice. If anything, why don't they hire the guy that sang the original theme song? Like, he's not doing a whole lot, I'm sure. Fucking get him to do it.
No, he's not. If
I'm
anything,
sure
he's actually doing covers.
Shit.
He's doing covers of the Pokemon theme song, like all over YouTube. There is like 20 artists that have done covers of the Pokemon theme song on YouTube with him as a guest for the cover.
Sweet. Get him to come here because it makes more sense than Post Malone.
Yeah, it does.
Whatever happened to that band M2M that sang the song for the movie, the Pokemon movie? Get them back.
Jesus Christ! What a name drop, Betson.
What a deep cut.
Betson the time with the Pokemon news. This one comes from Tom Power over at IGN. What a name, Tom Power. Who says McDonald's Pokemon cards are selling out because of scalpers. His subtitle is perfect. It says, "Gotta scalp them all." Scalpers are taking advantage of a McDonald's loophole to snap up Pokemon 25th anniversary trading card packs inside Happy Meals, and then selling them online for extortionate prices, leaving fans disappointed. McDonald's customers, as reported by Kotaku and Polygon, have taken to social media to vent their fury at the practice, which has seen boxes of Pokemon cards posted on websites such as eBay for eye-watering fees up to $1,500. This is USD. From Red Phoenix cards, McDonald's and Pokemon, I sure hope you do some form of inventory control for your promo Pokemon cards, as some of your stock is being sold in sealed boxes, which means they're not even making it to your stores. Though same thing happened with Tim Hortons hockey too. Retail $1.99. I believe they are making it to the store. This has to be an employee.
Yeah, because like I worked at McDonald's for 5 years. I was a manager at McDonald's, man. Like the only way that happens is if you do something shady, because like either that or you buy a fuck ton of Happy Meals. Like there was no way to buy the toys individually from memory.
No,
and even then, like you couldn't. I think you could actually. Then they were $1.
Oh yeah, they were. Yeah, they were. That's right.
Yeah, you get this toy for $1.
Correct.
But like even then, you couldn't just say like, give me like 30 toys. It's like, no.
It's just weird. Pokemon's weird at the moment, but there you go.
They're fucking scalpers again. God damn these pricks.
Moving on from Pokemon,
but also fuck those kids. Wait, hang on.
Back to PlayStation for a bit. This one comes by way of Sammy Barker over at Push Square, who says, Lady Dimitri... I don't know how to say it. Do you know how to say it, Betson? Lady...
I think it's Lady Dimitri... It's like Dimitrescu, but
Dimitrescu. Lady Dimitrescu. Yeah. Lady Dimitrescu designer. That's how I'm going to say it. Lady Dimitrescu designer.
Yeah, Lady D.
Yeah. A designer shocked by social media's thirst for Resident Evil Village villain. He goes on. The towering 9'6" vampire villain from Resident
with heels and hat.
That's correct. Resident Evil Village has cast a shadow over social media since fans realize she's really tall. It's probably the best marketing publisher Capcom could ever have hoped for. But did it predict such an thirsty response? According to art director Tomonori Takano, it's all quite surprising. Quote, I don't think anyone on the team could have predicted how wonderfully fans have reacted to Lady Dimitrescu, end quote, he said, as part of an interview with IGN. Quote, personally, I was particularly struck by comments like, quote, I want to be chased by her. Quote, maybe Takano is just shocked to learn that the internet has the exact same fetish. There's more to Lady Dimitrescu than her fame, however. She's not really your typical vampire. Her fashion sense is more Edwardian than outright gothic, and her yellow eyes give her the otherworldly attributes. She's glamorous. A recent trailer shows her applying makeup, for example. Look, the internet's always thirsty, but it's just one of those things where they really have kind of accentuated on the boobage. So there's
high levels of boobage.
There's high levels of boobage, yes, and so people
and also high in height. They are
high in height.
They are much taller than the average boob.
Correct. Yeah, the game is thirsty though. Like all the promo material that has come out. Unfortunately, one of the actors has passed away from cancer. But the promo material, the promo material that has come out from it is pretty much like hot goth vampire girls all over the
yeah,
thing.
Look, which isn't a bad thing. Like the daughters, big fan. That's right up my shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But like, it just varies. It's not a bad, like I said, it's not a surprising thing because there has been a long history between horror and sex, like and sexual imagery. They go hand in hand.
Yeah.
Like for the longest time.
Yeah.
So to have that here doesn't surprise me.
Yeah.
I like that they've done it because I think it's sort of them understanding, and it kind of adds a bit more of like to the villain. Like if you think of who's that woman, like she not Vampirella.
Oh, Elvira,
like this is our generation's Elvira.
Yeah,
really.
pretty much, yeah.
You know what I mean? And like that's what it comes down to.
Yeah.
And and right now everyone's in lockdown. Everyone's keen to fucking plow. So it's if they can find a digital character that can give them what they need, sure, man.
Yeah, why not?
Like I think it's great for the world to suddenly be stupid open with kinks. Like it's weird that kink comes through the video game or cartoon or whatever, because I find that shit weird already. Not shaming, but just I don't get the whole cartoon thing. But
more power to you. Yeah,
why the fuck not? You do you, or she does you. I don't. It's up to you, I guess.
Betson, in the penultimate piece of news for the night. This one comes from Sammy Barker over at Push Square. Techland insists it's still independent after acquisition speculation intensifies. Polo Studio denies Microsoft buyout reports. Another day, another Microsoft acquisition rumor. This time, it's the turn of Dying Light developer Techland, with speculation rife this weekend that it's been absorbed by Xbox boss Phil Spencer's Green Machine. To be fair, it's not the first time we've heard this rumor in the past, presumably because it's one of the few remaining major independent developers yet to be gobbled up. As such, pinning a source on the story this time is, well, not easy. As far as we can tell, the latest round of reports stem from a podcast named Defining Duke, in which Defining Duke, isn't that
that's the new one from Colin's Last Stand, or Colin's whatever it's called now.
Last Stand Media now, yeah.
Your Last Stand Media, there you go.
In which one of the hosts hinted that Microsoft is in the market for another developer or publisher to shore up.
So it's either Matty Plays or ACG.
Yeah.
One of those.
While the presenter didn't elaborate, the host of a different Xbox podcast, we hope you're keeping up here, posted on Twitter that they're quite fairly sure it's Techland. We know eye roll emoji and all that. This is concerning. Dying Light is a big IP, considering the fact that it's titled like I don't know what it was. Like when Dying Light came out, I just look at it as Zombie Mirror's Edge. But it really blew up over the years. Like it actually garnered a cult following later on. It really ironed out. It fleshed out. It fleshed out. Some of its problems. It was definitely buggy when it first released, but once it got completely fixed, it really started to steamroll, and its fandom started to grow even larger. It's just incredible now, and especially with Dying Light 2, nobody knows what the hell's happening with that. But now Xbox are looking to acquire them for exclusivity rights, just as they did now with freaking ZeniMax. So, you got any thoughts on this one?
Yeah, so it's interesting. In terms of Dying Light 2, obviously that was delayed indefinitely.
Yeah.
I imagine that's taken some sort of financial burden on the company, so the need for acquisition certainly could be on the cards.
Yep.
This isn't the first time that there's been sort of links between Microsoft and Techland, of course.
Right.
If I remember back at when they announced what was going to be Dead Island 3.
Correct.
That trailer originally showed at the Xbox conference, whatever fucking year that was.
2014, I believe.
Yeah, 2014, something like that.
Yeah.
So, like, there's obviously a working relationship there in the past. Now, of course, Dead Island has appeared on multiple platforms and released on multiple platforms, as has Dying Light.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, there is some sort of communication there. It would be a bit of a bummer. It is this weird situation, though, like, Microsoft are really just swinging for the fence and buying everything that they can.
Yeah.
It is going to become a problem sooner than later.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I think there's a payoff.
Presuming that they start running exclusives, because if they start running exclusives, that does monopolize the market a lot.
Oh yeah.
And I see that being an issue.
Yeah.
But if Microsoft are true to their word about anyone can play anything everywhere, they don't fucking care.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because like they had this big stink about gaming is for everyone. They can buy whoever they want.
Yeah.
Because otherwise they're contradicting their own entire brand marketing.
Yeah. Yeah. Betson, the final piece of news comes by way of Sammy Barker over at Push Square. Horizon Forbidden West on PS5, PS4 is, quote, more of the things people loved about Zero Dawn. Aloy actress Ashley Birch can't wait for the sequel. In terms of sequels, there may be only one that we're looking forward to more than Horizon Forbidden West, and that one's got Kratos in it. I know you are too as well.
Yeah.
And before I continue, do you think 2021 or 2022?
That's not coming out this year. Fuck, no.
But we've both got it down for our draft.
Yeah, it was a bold strategy, Cotton, but like with with Ratchet now officially coming out in June, that leaves Horizon for like October. They're not going to shift something else, and they're not going to drop two big releases.
No, in the same window. No way. Going on from what Mr. Barker says here, it's fair to say that Guerrilla Games now the transition from gritty sci-fi shooters to fantasy role-playing games with Aplomb when released Horizon Zero Dawn in 2017, and it sounds like it's a PlayStation 5 and PlayStation 4 sequel that will delight series fans. Quote, the new areas that Aloy is traveling to, the tribes that she's meeting, and the story that unfolds. I got primer on it all before recording for the game, where the writing team took me through the arc of the story, and it was like being a kid at a campfire, beaming returning voice actress Ashley Birch as part of the interview. I'll tell you what, Sam Birch was more excited writing this article because there's a litany of freaking typos in this thing. I'm just so excited for it, she continued. Quote, I'm also a fan, so I'll be recording sessions and we'll be recording a new scene, and I'm like, I can't wait to do this fight, or I can't wait to explore this area. All of the things that people loved about Zero Dawn, the gorgeous world, the immersive story, and the awesome gameplay. Forbidden West is just more and better, she adds. This is my most anticipated, like other than Persona 5 Strikers earlier a couple of weeks ago, this is my most anticipated sequel this year.
Yeah.
Horizon Zero Dawn is one of the most, I'm going to say underrated. Like it was underrated in a way that not critically, universally in terms of its audience. I'd say that there was less noise made of it due to the fact that it was a time release. Sorry, not time release. It was released in the same window, right next to
same
the Legend
week
of Zelda
as the Switch and Breath of the Wild.
So it kind of went on the wayside for non-PlayStation gamers or non-devotees, non-devout to the PlayStation hardware. Where the game should have had a lot more noise attached to it. I believe that 2017 really had, like 2017 was prime gaming year. We had so many good games that year, and Horizon Zero Dawn was part of the pack. And really, really deserved more acclaim from fans, at least. I'd say that the acclaim that it got from critics was there. It was evident. Critics were trying to push it. Reviewers were trying to push it. But it deserved more of an ovation. I'll ask you, are you excited, and what are your thoughts, and how are you perceiving this heading in?
Yeah, look, I'm excited for it, because why not? Being the big PlayStation mark that I am, like, you know, it's a given that I'm going to be excited for it.
Carney talk. Go on.
Admittedly, I'm yet to finish Horizon Zero Dawn. I know.
You filthy.
Yeah, I know. Like, I put like a stack of time into it the first time, then I went to go back, I'm like, where the fuck am I? So I started it again, and then I was like, and then now if I go back, I'm probably like, where the fuck am I again? So that's the hurdle that I have.
Yeah.
It's, because it was one of those things like, I'll play it when there's nothing to play, and then I play it, and then something comes, I go, oh shit, well, I have to put this down now.
No, fair enough.
Yeah, and because at the time, like we did review it. Well, we did review it for the channel for the one of our early episodes of For the Players. Yeah. But that was back in the days of disc copies. So the disc was given to Josh,
right, yeah,
who's my co-host at the time, who was playing it. So I didn't get to play at the time. Then by the time I came back to me, I was playing something else for review, and it's just kind of got lost in the ether.
Yeah, yeah.
I understand it. Like I understand it's important, and I understand it's desire within the PlayStation community, and I think it will be an excellent way to cap off the back end of this year.
I think it's going to be it'll be this year's biggest release. Given the fact that we've both agreed that God of War is coming out in 2022, there's no way that's coming out this year. Unfortunately, we'd love to see it this year. As a matter of fact, I just began my second playthrough of God of War this afternoon. Because I'm kind of empty-handed until 9 p.m. tonight when I get hands on Guilty Gear. But I restarted God of War this afternoon, and the game looks excellent on PlayStation 5. But it's almost empty hype behind something that's not coming this year. So this is certainly going to be the title to look forward to this year. Horizon Forbidden West is going to be incredible. Speaking of incredible, Betson, Future Dash is going to be sitting down with someone.
The incredibly good looking.
Correct. Australia's best looking farmer / gamer, Mr. Drew Agnew. We're going to be talking about Super Mario 3D World and Bowser's Fury.
The game review.
Hello, Mr. Drew Agnew.
Hello, Dash. How we going, man?
Good, mate. How are you doing?
Yeah, not too bad. I'm spending my nice weekday night here with you, and I couldn't think of any better way to do it myself.
That's fabulous. You're wasting your time with good old Dash. Drew, thanks to the kind folk over at Nintendo Australia, we both provided review codes for Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury. So thank you so much to Nintendo for providing those review codes to the House of Mario and dashgamer.com respectively. Let's start with Bowser's Fury first and foremost, because that's obviously the new content heading into the game. We're both obviously well versed in Super Mario 3D World, and we'll gush about that in a second. But what are your initial thoughts of Bowser's Fury heading in and giving it a go and everything else? What are your thoughts so far?
I absolutely love the sort of sense of discovery in the game. I think it's just a really fun sort of open world play box to go around, and it's automatically just scratches my itch of I've got to get everything, I've got to go and discover everything, and for an open world Mario game, that's exactly what I'm after.
Yeah,
and it's actually pretty random being in the Mario 3D World engine as well, because it's kind of like the complete opposite of what that game is, and and it's also been like a long time since I played 3D World, so it's just been nice going back to that. But
definitely.
Bowser's Fury, it's pretty much exactly what I wanted it to be. As soon as I saw the initial trailers, I'm like, oh my god, that music and Bowser's design in the Fury form or whatever looks so cool.
Yeah,
I just want to sort of get into it, experience it, and it's for the most part, it's exactly what I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, I agree with your sentiment. The thing is, when I began playing it, it didn't it almost felt like they were deviating from Super Mario 3D World's gameplay loop into Odyssey's gameplay loop in a way, because it was very sandboxy. You're not really getting that single camera construct that they kind of go for with Super Mario 3D World, where it's kind of like a mixture and a mesh of the 2D style and 3D style that they went for in land and world. And even playing it and collecting cat shines and everything, like upon collecting cat shines, you get the little notification blip that comes up that is just straight up copy paste from Super Mario Odyssey. The sound effect is straight up there. The cat coins are pretty much moon coins that you get from Odyssey as well. So it's funny to see a lot of Odyssey inspiring Bowser's Fury here. How did you feel about some of the open world terrain design and how they went about kind of like surrounding the area complete? Like it's basically an islet. It's an island, or separated islands, segregated islands, with mini levels scattered across with puzzles and trials and everything. How did you feel about its design overall?
Yeah, I think it's actually quite smart how they sort of like slowly open it up. like when you start playing, you got this like little area just that's opened up, so you can sort of explore it, and you go to get like the first 5 cat shrines, and it slowly opens it up to you, so it's not so daunting at the very start. We're like, all right, where do I go? And I think it's really fun. Like in the sort of the first bit, like I'm going around and picking up Cooper shells. I'm like, oh, cool. I pick it up and I sort of run with it. And then there's a bit of an option to go, hop inside. I'm like, oh, okay. So then you press the ZR button and you hop inside. You actually get to spin around and slide around and go across the ocean and that just in this Cooper shell. And I thought that was a lot of fun. And it's been a long time since we're being able to do that. That was, I remember in New Super Mario Bros. On the DS, there was a power-up where you could be a Cooper and you could use the shell. And I thought that was awesome. So being able to do that again was a lot of fun.
Yeah. There was that mechanic that was also in New Super Mario Bros. 2, I believe, where you could actually enter the Cooper shell and collect coins. It was almost identical to that, which was awesome. Almost a throwback or a callback to it, which I found quite cool. And like you mentioned, there are a lot of mechanics that were omitted from Super Mario Odyssey, obviously not carrying over a lot of what made 3D land and world popular to Mario Odyssey's core gameplay loop, rather lifting heavy facets from, like, say, Super Mario 64 and Super Mario Sunshine, and kind of skipping elements that were included in Galaxy directly to Odyssey. Odyssey really felt like a true sequel to the 3D All-Stars package, rather than 3D World, because 3D World obviously falls in line with 3D Land, given its gameplay. So it was funny how they, like I mentioned, it's funny how they meshed those two gameplay loops into the one experience here with Bowser's Fury. Did you have any criticisms towards the way that they designed Bowser's gameplay loop in this?
Yeah, I guess it does seem like a little bit random. Like every now and again, he just comes up and you're like, all right, I'm already halfway through getting this cat shine. So you get it, and that's what makes him disappear. It's like, oh no, and he takes a little bit of damage and he goes back into the ocean. Yeah. It's just like, it seems a little bit random there. It would be maybe a bit cooler if it was like a bit more scripted and makes a bit more sense when he shows up. Yeah. Because like, you spend a lot of time just like, honestly just dicking around in this overworld and it's like, oh, what's going on? And there's like this dinosaur Plassie that you can ride around, and she's a lot of fun. Just like jump onto the land and slide over the land and sort of do a bit of platforming like that. So sometimes you just end up just doing stuff like that and just dicking around, and then Bowser shows up. You're like, all right. Yeah, exactly. But, I guess that's the point though. He's just meant to get in the way and hinder you. So have you completed? Have you completed it? Not yet. Not yet. So I've got to be careful what I say. So. With Plessy, I feel like the inclusion of Plessy is a great addition, because I never really liked the Plessy levels in 3D World. I always, if I could avoid them, I would. They just weren't, to me, they're just not fun. They're not that innovative. There's no real gameplay within it. There's nothing that makes me excited about playing, this corridor construct of just sliding down this water slide, basically. But in Plessy and Bowser's Fury, utilizing their speed, like Plessy just simply like bolts from island to island, and it's perfect, especially when Bowser awakens and you really need to get out of there as fast as possible. You jump onto Plessy and they go ham, and you run for it, hoping to find a cat shine anywhere you can, just to kind of get Bowser back underneath the ocean as well. I found that to be quite a lot of fun, and that's actually what made a lot of addictive gameplay loop for me going back to Bowser's Fury. Speaking of Bowser, what do you think of his design in Bowser's Fury? Oh, I think it's just awesome. I think it's one of the coolest Bowser designs I've ever seen. Yeah. And I sort of had that opinion just after the first trailer. I'm like, oh my God, I wasn't expecting any add-on content really for 3D World when it was going to come to Switch. Yeah. So just the idea that even if we got like a small sample of a bit of a sandbox, I think that's just a really nice addition. Yeah. And the fact that we got this cooler sort of Bowser design is really nice.
Yeah.
But just with Plessy, I remember just like the bit in the trailer where sort of they're trying to dodge like the big Bowser flame, and when that actually happens in game, I'm like, oh yes, I get to sort of relive that moment, and it was just as fun as it sort of looks in the trailer. Just sort of oh my god, just like doing a dash and jumping over the flame as it's he's sweeping it through, and and I think there's like Plessy in like the shell. It sort of reminds me of when I was a kid and I used to muck around in Super Mario 64 and bob on Battlefield and go to the top and just like do a big jump off and use the feather cap and go up to the Koopa and steal his shell and just see how long I can last just surfing around on his shell. And it sort of just reminded me of that. It's just a fun sort of world to be in. And like in Mario Galaxy, I don't think there was any sort of worlds where it was fun just to exist in. No. And Mario Odyssey as well, I didn't necessarily get that apart from the castle at the end, if that's not a spoiler.
I agree with you on that. Actually, that's a pretty good point. I feel like with the thing is with Mario Galaxy, I think I'll put it this way: you're a lot younger than I am, obviously. What age were you when Galaxy came out?
Oh, it came out. I would have been like
2007.
Yeah, it would have been like 11 or 12. Right. 11 going 12, yeah.
I had just finished high school, so I was 16, 17. So 17, I was 17 years old. I think there was its audience that they were trying to kind of collect were more of the people that wanted the Super Mario 64 follow-up that they didn't get in Sunshine. And I feel like they got it in some retrospect, but there was also something missing about Galaxy that just didn't quite fit. However, it's a timeless classic. I feel like anybody who plays it in the 3D All-Stars is going to absolutely love it. But with with the gameplay loop that 3D World kind of took from 3D Land, I can understand why Nintendo kind of deviated from the sandbox-like world that the 64 lineage kind of went for. Because for me, for a traditionalist who loves their 2D gaming, especially like when 3D Land came out, I almost like that was my 2011 game of the year because I felt like everything that they included from like the 2D games elements, like hitting the question mark block and all that stuff, it just felt right in this 3D space, in this 3D world that they created. And again, in 3D world, it just felt right again. But speaking of 3D world, have you had a chance to jump into 3D world again?
Yeah, so I jumped into 3D World first for whatever reason. I actually didn't notice on the screen that Bowser's Fury was just like an analog stick to the right away. Yeah. I'm like, I didn't actually see it for whatever reason. I don't know where it is. So I just went straight into the normal game and played a couple of worlds and made sure I 100%ed it as I went along. And
nice.
It's been a long time since I played through those games, so it was like a little bit of nostalgia from when I just sort of. I was out of high school for like a year or two at that point, and my friends who were all into Nintendo were still living down here, and people would come over sort of and play sort of 3D Mario, and that was like one of the first experiences I had, being, hey, this Mario is actually 4-player, that we can actually play this, and unlike Galaxy or whatever, where it's like I don't want to do the stupid the Wiimote getting the star bits. You can actually like have a full on sort of Mario multiplayer experience, and it's the only Mario game that offers that, and I think that's something really special. And with the Switch, about how sort of multiplayer centric it is, it's I think it's a pretty important game to be on the system. Well, so I'm happy that it's there. Yeah,
I agree with you, and that's the thing. Like with the Wii U, obviously, like I just finished writing my review of 3D World today, and I was comparing its release on Switch to the Wii U release, to its initial release, and the inclusion of online multiplayer is something that should have been imperative, like it should have been mandatory when they released it on the Wii U, and its mission was a slight against gamers who really had advanced in that generation, because we're talking like when the Wii U came out, we were transitioning from PlayStation 3 to 4 at that time. And a lot of gamers at that time were already playing games like Uncharted. They're enjoying the multiplayer experience from Uncharted 2. Then you had The Last of Us, and then you had the Call of Duty games and everything else. And the Wii U tried to kind of
Destiny. At that point.
Yeah, exactly. The Wii U tried to capitalize on a lot of those a lot of third-party IPs, such as Call of Duty and everything, but it couldn't quite catch up due to its limitations, due to its hardware limitations, basically. And their first-party titles fell victim, and I believe that its number one victim has always been this game. Aside from Breath of the Wild, I don't really place Breath of the Wild there, mainly because I don't really see Breath of the Wild as a Wii U game, it's a Switch game. But Super Mario 3D World really suffered in terms of it was underrated, underappreciated, mainly due to the Wii U hardware. Now that it's on Switch, we have a new generation of Nintendo hardware owners that are about to experience this game for the first time ever. Do you think that this is a great first impression of Super Mario for the 3D Land World franchise, basically? Do you think this is going to be an excellent impression that could pave the way for another 3D, whatever it may be, 3D universe, whatever release?
Yeah, actually, I haven't really thought about that much because there's lots of directions they can take now. They can continue with Odyssey. They can do this type of game again. I'd probably say no because this game is basically a new game for a lot of people.
Yeah.
And
so it might be a while.
So there is interest in making just open world games because they've already tacked on an open world sort of segment to this game as it stands.
Correct,
so I probably say like the money would be more in the sort of the open world type of stuff, but
I agree.
I've got no idea. I'm really interested to see how this sells compared to the Wii U release, because if you remember, Knack on the PlayStation 4 actually outsold this game, which was just unreal.
Yeah,
like
insane.
It was just like, that's when you knew Nintendo was in serious trouble. After a year, they finally got out their 3D Mario title. And that was sort of the bit where the 3DS was like, all right, we're saved. We've got Mario Kart. We've got 3D Land. Things are looking good. We've got a price cut. Before the Wii U, never got a price cut. Mario come. It got outsold by just a whatever launch title on the PS4. And it was all pretty much downhill from there. Like nothing else could save it. So,
yeah, exactly. What was it? Just under 13. Was it 13? Just over 13 million lifetime sales for the Wii U in terms of units, in terms of hardware. Yeah. So this would have been like a quarter of that, a fragment of it, because the Wii U when it sold, obviously people had and were ambitious for its success, myself included. I sang this game's praises, but I knew for a fact, I knew that it was just dead in the water afterwards. Like it was like, okay, we've got some excellent gaming happening on the Wii U, but nobody's paying attention because of the hardware itself. And this fell victim of that. And once again, it just, like you mentioned, Knack of all games outsold Super Mario 3D World. That's incredible. So, it's going to be interesting. Like you mentioned, we probably won't see another Mario game for quite some time because they'll probably take advantage of sales that will go into this game, and that's fine. I believe that, that's probably a smart business strategy. If anything, it's a smart strategy just to kind of expose people to this game for a little while. Like they're kind of doing with Mario Kart 8 Deluxe as well. We're kind of like sitting here anxiously waiting, anticipating a new Mario Kart game, hopefully soon. But
it's going to be a while. I don't think you're going to see it anytime soon.
You don't believe E3 this year?
Nah, no way.
All right.
They don't need another one. They're selling this one.
I know it's it's ambitious for me to think of that as well, but I would love,
because you said that a couple of years ago as well.
I did.
You say it like every E3.
I did. I mentioned it at our E3 special a couple of years ago that I thought of Mario Kart. Yeah,
and I thought the exact same thing. Then I'm like, dude, they just like released this one, and now it's gone on to sell 20 to 30.
But you believe the hype train. The hype train's there. It's like, why would they re-release Mario Kart 8? And it's like, stupid. Not that many people played Mario Kart 8. Of course, they're not going to re-release... of course they're going to re-release the game and not have to do any more work to get another one out. It's exactly what's happening here as well. So, hopefully, look, fingers crossed, Nintendo have released this to kind of mask the fact that they're working hard on The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild 2. That's what I'm guessing. It won't be out this year, unfortunately. Like, I know... Actually, you know what? No, screw that. It will be out this year. Well, I hope it's out this year, but we'll see. E3
fingers
this
crossed.
year. Oh, yeah, fingers crossed for sure. Drew, any final thoughts on Super Mario 3D World Cross Bowser's Fury?
Well, the 3D World portion of the game is absolutely fantastic. It was all the way back in 2013. Go and play it, especially if you've got kids or friends or roommates or whatever. It's a lot of fun multiplayer, but it's still fun by yourself. I'm playing it by myself in handheld mode, so there's no issues there. And Bowser's Fury, you know, it's classic Mario. It's a lot of fun. There's sort of no problems there. But if you are hoping for like a big media experience, Bowser's Fury won't be it. You'll have to go back and actually get all of the moons in Mario Odyssey.
Fantastic.
Again, if you've already done that. I have not done that. I'm not crazy enough, but I'm sure
you should.
some people out there are.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I probably should.
Right here.
Yeah, crazy boy.
Yeah.
It's one of those things I've been meaning to, but it's just like... I can't justify the time.
Oh yeah, no, it's understandable. It does envelop a lot of time. It does take a lot of time to collect everything in Odyssey, that's for sure. But Bowser's Fury is certainly worth the completion rate, that's for sure. So yeah, no, I agree with you on everything that you just said. Most certainly an essential for Nintendo Switch owners, especially Mario fans. Make sure that you go and pick it up. Thanks to the kind folk at Nintendo who provided it to both myself and Drew. You can follow Mr. Drew Agnew on Twitter at iDrewby. You can also listen to his further comments about the game over on the House of Mario podcast.
Global gaming releases.
All right, Betson, time to wrap up the show.
Isn't he a dreamboat?
Time to wrap up the show.
I'd let him shear me, you know what I'm saying?
With the dashgamer.com global gaming releases for the next fortnight. We've got a few of them, so it's going to be an exciting one. I know one of the games on this list Max is certainly excited for because he's been asking me tons of questions about it. But let me get into it. So on February 16th, Hellish Squad on PC. Speed Limit on PC, PS4, Xbox One, and Switch on February 17th. Rustler, Steam Early Access PC, February 18th. Anodyne 2, I think that's how you say it. Anodyne 2, Return of Dust, PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Xbox Series X and S, and Switch, February 18th. Voyage on PC, February 19th. This is the one. Persona 5 Strikers on PC, PS4, and Switch on February 23rd.
Yeah, he's rock hard weaving out to that one. He's pretty keen.
Oh, well, he should, man. Thanks to the confolk over at 5 Star Games. 10 out of 10 on dashgamer.com. Make sure you check out our review. Excellent direct sequel to something that's not completely different, but something that's different from traditional JRPG. They amalgamate JRPG and Muso into the one thing, and it's just awesome. It's just awesome.
I would love to be able to acquire a review code for him, but 5 Star don't love me for some reason.
Oh my god, shut up. Curse of the Dead Gods on PS4, Xbox One, and Switch. February 23rd, my god, Betson. Ghosts and Goblins Resurrection on Nintendo Switch, February 25th. Bravely Default 2 on Nintendo Switch, February 26th. I'm very excited for that one. Capcom Arcade Stadium on Nintendo Switch, just says February, no direct date, but it should be out by the end of the month. And Maquette on PC, PS4, and PS5 on March 2nd. So thank you so much to VG247 for providing that list. And also thank you because it was stuck in my head, to 5 Star Games for providing Puyo Puyo Tetris 2. I'll be reviewing that very, very soon. And
I fucking love Puyo Puyo Tetris, by the way.
You do?
We play, big time. We played a lot at work because it's sort of like a good little competitive game that we play amongst myself and our clients.
Nice.
Which is, like the one where it switches between Puyo Puyo and Tetris. Like it's absolute blast. Like it's good. It's enthusiasm. There's lots of laughs, lots of swearing at each other. It's fantastic, and I'm a big Puyo Puyo Tetris fan.
Not bad. I might send it over to you once I'm done so you can check it out as well. Also, a big thank you to our executive producers of the Dash Gamer podcast for this month. Cat B, Brendan White, Ewan Hosey, Andrew Agnew, of course. Big thank you to those guys who helped out with
fucking champs.
dashgamer.com/Kofi. Of course, you too can help out dashgamer.com and the Dash Gamer podcast and Operation PlayStation by heading over to dashgamer.com/Kofi, donating as little as $2 a month and receiving a whole bunch of perks. We are obviously going to be looking at an Xbox show, and also an anime show as well. It's going to be very exciting. And also you get exclusive access, early access to future episodes of Dash and Holmesy Take Your Heart. So make sure you head over to dashgame.com/Kofi and check out our tiers. But, guys, if you didn't know, this has been the Dash Gamer Podcast, a bi-weekly gaming podcast where the boys and I get together, sit down, talk about the world of video games. Don't forget to follow Mr. Ryan Betson on Twitter @HaggardMC. You can follow myself on Twitter @DashGamer. Don't forget to follow the show over on SoundCloud, iTunes, and Spotify. Give us those cheeky 5-star ratings. They surely help us out. And also catch the VOD over on dashgamer.com and on YouTube. Subscribe, hit that bell, give us a like, leave us a comment. Hit that join button if you like as well. You can get the perks here too. But it surely helps us out. Betson, awesome show. Sir. Awesome show, man. Thank you so much.
No worries.
I'll see you in 6 weeks.
Yeah, who's next?
Next up will be Drew in a couple of weeks. Yeah. So
if you saw him today and you're like, ooh, I need to see more of that man. Surprise, motherfucker. You'll see more of him real soon.
That's right. Next week, in 2 weeks, we'll have Drew on for the next episode of the Dash Gamer Podcast. And then following Drew, in 4 weeks, we'll have Mr. Brendan White from 8-Bit, who is coming on board with the show, which is awesome as well. So thanks to those two boys as well for jumping on, because Padge is a lazy man.
A lazy man with 2 children and like trying to teach people as a school teacher in COVID, man. Fuck that noise.
Happy birthday, Patch.
That's the thing. Everyone's like with like the whole pandemic. Everyone's like, oh man, all these fucking days off. Like, no, it just makes he and I as essential workers, it just made our jobs so much harder.
It does. I feel sorry for you guys, but
it's bomb.
Guys, I'll see you next week for Operation PlayStation with Padge, and I'll see you in 2 weeks with Drew on the Dash Gamer Podcast. We'll see this man in 6 weeks, but you can catch him on For the Players every single week over at the Pop Culturists. Make sure you click on the QR code that is below Betson right now. Also scan it, and also click on the icon at the end of the show. It'll take you to the Pop Culturists channel. But until 2 weeks, thank you so much. I don't have an ending to this show. For the love of God, Betson, help me. Thumbs up to everybody. This is great. Great ending. Yeah. Really still need to
see you soon or something.
dashgamer.com